Justice Ricardo Rosario will interpolate.
May I request Attorney Colmenares, Congressman Colmenares, to please take the podium. Justice Amy Lazaro Javier has virtually covered all aspects of this petition during her allotted period of interpellation.
Yes, Your Honor.
I, for one, have questions of my own, but all the points I wanted to raise have practically been addressed or covered by our colleagues' splendid and comprehensive interpellation of the stakeholders in this petition. Do you agree, Congressman?
I would
Yes
like
na lang,
to
yes
think
na
so,
lang.
Your Honor. Our petition, just to clarify, Your Honor, is about presidential immunity, presidential certification of emergency. Can Congress increase the budget? And can the BICAM insert provisions? Of course, Philhealth will be affected once, if we win our arguments that these are unconstitutional acts, Your Honor. With regards to the Philhealth issue, I think more has to be explained also later on about the impact of
So you do
this.
not agree that that Justice Amy's interpellation was comprehensive?
Very comprehensive, Your
Okay.
Honor. Yes.
Now, in fact, Congressman, I'd like to express my gratitude to Justice Amy for capsulizing the issues involved in the instant petition. In the process, I have to admit this, making my job much easier. Our job, for that matter. Now, if I may share with you my observation, Congressman, a lot of people were in fact impressed by her intelligent, incisive, and thought-provoking questions. Of course, you cannot ask intelligent questions if you're not intelligent. And if
agree,
you
Your
did not
Honor.
intelligently analyze the issues of the case. What Justice Amy did is indeed a tough act to follow. Kudos also to the other justices who have followed suit. Incidentally, Justice Amy, if I may reveal, she is the chairperson of the 2025 bar examinations. Yours truly is 2027. Now, if the manner of conducting the examination of the parties in this oral argument is any indication of how the bar questions would be formulated, nakita niyo naman, Congressman, pati mga bar top-notchers dito, top-notchers, nahirapan sumagot.
Yes, Your Honor. Kahit ako, Your Honor.
Okay. Ang masasabi ko lang, good luck na lang sa ating mga bar examinees. They will need me very badly. Kasi kailangan nilang magrosaryo. Levity aside, Congressman. I have a question for your client, Attorney Colmenares, and the other petitioners may, they may also respond should they desire. I have prepared and have written down some of my queries in advance. Last week pa ito to make for a streamlined interpellation. And also, to save time for the other members of the court who have signified their desire to also conduct their own interpellations. Marami pa, mahigit 10 pa yung nakapila. Now, this is my question. Please pay attention. during Justice Amy's, ano ba ito? Amy's interpellation of Solicitor General Medardo Guevara. The projects or programs to which the excess funds of GOCCs would have been eventually devoted were discussed. Now, it appears to me that the appropriations in general, or rather that the Solicitor General was of the opinion, you were there, you heard him, that the allocation of budget or of appropriations in general is a matter that pertains to the wisdom and, by assumption of course, not to the legality or validity of the congressional statute. To avoid any chance of misinterpretation, I am quoting verbatim that particular portion of Justice Amy Lazaros and Solicitor General's question and answer. I think, I'm not sure about how much time they have allocated for me to do my interpellation. Doblehin ko lang yung kay Justice Amy. 3 araw eh. Anyway, this is, sabi ni Justice Amy, the PGN Bridges project appears to be fully funded by the Export-Import Bank of Korea in the amount of how much? 174.49 billion plus. Is there an urgency to transfer the Philhealth funds when the project is already funded? Solicitor General Guevara responded in this manner, Your Honor, this is a matter really of delving into the wisdom, again, into the wisdom of the legislature in allocating funds. When Justice Amy Lazaro Javier stressed the apparent anomaly in sourcing funds for a project for which funding has previously been made available, Solgen Guevara answered, Your Honor, one consideration by the Congress in doing so is a determination of when a project is already implementable. So if a project that has already been identified and sufficiently funded is considered to be non-implementable for the given fiscal year, then I think, this is Solgen Guevara speaking, di ako then I think he can more or less validate and confirm if I quoted him accurately and correctly. Then I think it is the decision of the Congress in the exercise of its policy or wisdom, so to speak, to move it to the unprogrammed appropriations for the meantime. Okay? Now, a principle in political law is that the court cannot generally question the wisdom of the statutes passed by the Congress. Tama?
Yes, Your
Whether
Honor.
a law enacted by the legislature branch is wise or would effectively realize the objective for which it was passed in the first place is a question that is virtually beyond the ambit of the court's jurisdiction as spelled out in our Constitution.
Yes, Your Honor.
If my understanding, Congressman, is correct, Solgen Guevara is arguing that allocation of funds is basically a political question and thus cannot be the subject of inquiry by the judiciary. Now, Attorney Nery Colmenares, as a former member of the House of Representatives who should be familiar with budget allocation under the General Appropriations Bill or Act, what is your take on this matter? In other words, can you comment on how congressional wisdom, as mentioned by the good Solicitor General, may override the prohibition against the use of Philhealth funds for other matters or projects, such as infrastructure projects, peace negotiations. I think the Panay Guimaras Negros Island, BGN Island Bridges project was also cited. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, Congress always has a discretion in the wisdom of a law being passed, not just the budget, Your Honors, please. However, there are constitutional parameters to the exercise of that power, Your Honors, please. For example, the allocation of funds to these projects transferred to the program funds, for us, Your Honor, was not an act of Congress, actually, but was an act of the bicameral committee, Your Honor, please. And under a constitution, it says that bills for appropriation bills should originate exclusively from the House, but the Senate may concur or propose amendments. In this case, Your Honor, the projects found in the PGN Bridge in the unprogrammed fund did not come from the House of Representatives. The 281 billion for the unprogrammed funds was actually approved by the House, and the Senate concurred in that. Now, the insertion of the BICAM, Your Honor, of these projects, transferring it to the unprogrammed appropriations, even overstepping the 281 billion recommended for appropriations by the President, is a violation of the Constitution. And whatever projects they would put in there is already void, because the BICAM Commission, Your Honors, please, has no power to originate an appropriation item. It is composed, Your Honors, of senators, for example. The Constitution says only Congress has the power to, the appropriation bill must originate exclusively from the House. The BICAM members, Your Honor, are not Congress. They are congressmen. And more so, the senators. The senators, as I mentioned, has no power to originate an item, but they originated this, Your Honor. They invented these items there, adding about 449 billion in the 281 billion. So if the BCC's acts are ultra vires and no amount of ratification can cure that, it is unconstitutional, Your Honor. The entire insertion of 449 billion, Your Honor, is unconstitutional, especially since, if I may add, Your Honor, the Senate concurred with the House. The House passed 281 billion of unprogrammed. Who is the senator or the congressman in the BCC to propose amendment in violation of the Constitution? So for us, Your Honor, the items may be many, and it could be funded by loans already. It may not even be funded by loans. But if the insertion itself is unconstitutional, then the insertion of this, Your Honor, because it violates the constitutional provision that appropriation bills must originate exclusively from the House, and the Senate may only concur or propose amendments, Your Honors.
In other words, Colmenares, congressional wisdom or the use of this wisdom is not a license to violate the Constitution.
Correct, Your Honors.
My next question. You are of the opinion that Philhealth funds or any excess thereof cannot be allocated for any purpose other than that identified under the Universal Health Care Act, and to do otherwise would be unlawful. Tama?
That was in the other petitions, Your Honor, we agree with it, although our petition simply said, if Section 1D is unconstitutional because it was inserted by the BICAM, then the circular issued by the DOF is also void because it was based there. Okay. And any transfer of funds, therefore, are also void, more so because it took away, it siphoned off billions of pesos from the benefits of PhilHealth members.
Okay, fair enough. Now, if I understand correctly, sir, the General Appropriations Act mandated that excess funds of all GOCCs should be returned to the National Treasury to finance other government programs and projects. However, it appears that we are, this is my observation lang, it seems to me that you are focusing or concentrating exclusively on Philhealth funds. And no issue is being raised with respect to other government agencies. I would like the petitioners to kindly explain this particular issue. Meaning, if the law Teka muna, nawala na ako. Hold on, for a while. If the law, now under review, would have only required the remittance of excess funds of all other GOCCs, with the exception of Philhealth, would you still raise the same objections? You may answer later. Medyo mahaba itong tanong ko. This is a series of questions, actually.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because the Equal Protection Clause reminds us that things of the same class should be treated in the same manner. In filing the instant petitions, are you seeking to protect only the excess funds of Philhealth and not those of the other agencies or GOCCs covered by the law in dispute? What is it with Philhealth that you should single it out when there are all other agencies which could also have excess funds to remit? Did petitioners even bother to check on the charters of these other agencies if they have similar restrictions as Philhealth when it comes to excess funds? Or is Philhealth the only target here, given its alleged enormous excess funds? Why do we have to be selective? Why do we have to leave them behind? What recourse do they have, if any? I think these agencies, in fairness, if they are on the same boat as Philhealth, they also deserve your help, concern, and protection. Are you not also supposed to take up the cudgels for them? I understand that protection should be extended to Philhealth funds given the enormity, masyadong malaki, of its supposed excess funds. But what about the other GOCCs whose excess funds is no match to Philhealth's? Will you not be questioning that also, Atty. Colmenares? If petitioners think that diverting Philhealth's funds is unlawful, will channeling funds of other GOCCs whose extra funds are not that significant to purposes other than they were initially earmarked be lawful? What will happen, say, for example, the Supreme Court decides this case in your favor, the petition. Now, in the event that you secure a favorable judgment or decision, and the court declares or nullifies the challenge, anong tawag doon? Item 1D, for being violative of the Constitution as maintained by the petitioners. Can the decision of the court in this regard be also applied in the other GOCCs who were not included or impleaded in this petition? Lastly, will all the transfer of funds of these other GOCCs be likewise declared to be unlawful? Okay, it's your turn.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, you are right, Your Honor. We should be concerned with all GOCCs. That is why, Your Honor, ang tinamaan dito is Philhealth and PDIC. We mentioned PDIC, Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation, 100 billion, 89.9 billion Philhealth. But we are also concerned with other GOCCs, Your Honors. That's why we challenge Section 1D. Because Section 1D, if we win that case, it pertains to all GOCCs. Because that is where the power to transfer stems. The circular being assailed here from the DOF stemmed from Section 1D. Kaya hindi kami nag-question, Your Honor, ng PhilHealth lang. Kinwestiyon namin ang ugat ng bakit nalipat ang PhilHealth, which is Section 1D. We believe, as long as Section 1D is there, it may be PhilHealth now, we may win PhilHealth, it could be GSIS or SSS later. Ang mga kasamahan kong kongresista, Your Honor, wag naman yung kalusugan ng miyembro, wag naman yung pensyon ng miyembro. Kaya we are so concerned na baka pati yun ay gagalawin nila, kaya we question Section 1D, Your Honor, which is the root of the transfer of
inunahan
funds.
nyo na.
Yes, Your Honor. Kasi unconstitutional talaga, Your Honor, at baka kung sino pang GOCC ang maisip nila later if Section 1D survives.
Thank you, Congressman Attorney Colmenares. Madam Clerk of Court, can I request the Secretary of Finance to also take the podium? The current. Senator Recto, I'm sorry, as Secretary Recto. If that's okay, Sarah.